Hey guys, I thought today I would just talk a little bit about my type 2 diabetes. I did notice on YouTube there's not a whole lot of talk or vlogging about diabetes, and it's something I want to start to do a little more because I have noticed some vloggers that I watch, they will mention they have diabetes now and then. So I figured I might as well talk about it and just kind of share my my little diabetes story, I guess. As for it running in my family, my dad did get it when he was in his mid-50s, and I think that's basically the only family history. It may have ran in his family more so, but as for immediate family, it was just my dad that had it. And I know it probably came from not eating that well. As for me, I was diagnosed with it in 2012, so about 2 years ago. And prior to that, I guess most of my life, my mom would cook meals like the meat, potato, and veggie type meals. Although the meat was pretty lean meat, we always had a potato and we always had 2 sides of vegetables. So we ate pretty healthy. I guess you could say it could be worse. There were always home-cooked meals from scratch, which was good. But when my parents bought a restaurant, there was those, a chunk of years there that we just ate the restaurant food because it was just so convenient, So I did start to eat a little unhealthier, and then of course being a teenager, you start to make your own choices. I didn't live at home the whole time I was a teenager, so I had freedom really to eat what I want, and for me, fast food was everything. I mean, I ate so much fast food and candy and chips, and not so much cookies and cakes or anything like that, more so chips, candy, like sugar candy. So yeah, overall it wasn't, I guess if I would have went back, I would have opened my eyes and saw, okay, my dad got diabetes, chances are I'm going to get it, but I don't know, I was just, I guess, ignorant to the fact that it could happen to me. So basically, before I got diagnosed with it, there was a couple years there after my dad passed away. He passed away in 2008, and my mom and I moved to the city. And of course, in the city, there's fast food everywhere. We've got McDonald's down the road, like 2 blocks away. I could walk if I wanted to. Wendy's. And then, of course, every other fast food you can imagine within a drive, a few minutes away in the car, you could get there. So when we moved here, I was actually dealing with a really bad depression. Losing my dad, I was grieving, and my illness and everything was I was a mess. So cooking, I didn't even cook back then. I didn't even know how to cook. So I was eating a lot of fast food. My mom was still cooking meals, but I'd prefer fast food, and she was out shopping, and anyway, I'm getting into too much, but basically, before I got diagnosed, I was eating the worst I've probably eaten in my whole life. And the reason I went to the doctor is because I had been feeling really tired. And like I said, I was dealing with depression, so it was very hard to tell the difference between depression or is it something else, So I would eat a meal, and like Harvey's or McDonald's, I would eat that and right away, like, want to go to bed, like exhausted. So that was one of the signs, just being very tired after I ate a meal. And kind of overall feeling tired, like most of the time, fatigued. And And I think, yeah, I would get up in the middle of the night to go pee. So there was a few signs there, and blurry vision now and then, which now I know I had high blood sugar levels, but I didn't know at the time. So I mentioned this to a friend of mine who had diabetes, and he said, it sounds like it might be diabetes. You should go get it checked out. And I did not think it was diabetes at all. I thought, no way. I figured it was a depression sort of affecting my, making me so tired. So I went, even though I didn't think I had it, and sure enough, I had diabetes. So, oh boy, is it ever a shock to the system when you realize, like, all of a sudden, everything you've eaten in your life and the way you've lived your life, all of a sudden, you can't really do that anymore. And if you do that, there's a lot of risk factors for, your health going very poorly. That was so scary to me. I remember going to the pharmacy for the first time to get my diabetes meter and my test strips. And when I went to the pharmacy, I hadn't even eaten breakfast yet, and I came home and tested, and it was, I think, 13, which is so high for a fasting blood sugar level, like when you're not have nothing in your tummy. For it to be 13, it was bad. And that's when it hit me, and I just sort of broke down crying. I only had a couple good cries over the diabetes, just a couple at the beginning. Yeah, totally overwhelming to even figure out what it is. And, seeing my dad go through it, all I really understood about it was you're not supposed to have sugar. That's what I thought it meant. And it's so much more than that. And there's so many risk factors. It's just really, really overwhelming. So it took me a while, but I actually was able to, that day that I had that blood sugar test and it was high, I haven't touched a hamburger since then. I have not had a fast food hamburger. I have not had a homemade hamburger. I've not had a steak. I've not had pork chops. I've not had chocolate bars. Well, I've had chocolate a little bit when my blood went low, but not out of pleasure eating at all, just out of necessity. So I've made a lot of changes. Like when I compare to how I used to eat, I'm eating super healthy, but yet there's so many different levels of healthy that I'm not very healthy, the way I could be. There's this ultimate way of eating and exercising and living that is a very healthy way. And oh boy, do I hope I can get there one day. But yeah, I'm just kind of working my way up the ladder, and it's been 2 years, and now and then I kind of fall off the wagon a tiny bit, where I've bought a bag of Doritos maybe once every few months. Not something I never had chips up until then. I did a good year and a half of just cutting everything out, but I'm still doing good. I haven't had pizza from a fast food restaurant. I haven't had any fast food except for salads, and the odd time I would get a deep fried chicken burger. So that I only did that maybe 4 times in the last few years. So anyways, I don't take any medication or insulin for my diabetes. I don't need to at this point, thank God. I'm able to manage it with just on my own, mostly eating good. Exercise helps so much. When I exercise, I notice my blood sugar numbers are really, really good. In fact, if I exercise too much, my blood goes low, and it just feels like I have to eat all the time. So yeah, it's been a lot of learning, and I still have so much to learn. All the different aspects of the risk factors, I need to learn all that still. And carb counting, because the thing is, this illness is progressive. So even right now, if I can get away with whatever I can get away with right now, maybe 5-10 years down the road, I might not be able to get away with. So I may need medication down the road. Who knows? But I do want to do my best to not take medication if I can. So that's where it's up to me to prevent that by eating well and exercising and everything like that. But overall, it's a tough thing to live with. It definitely is. It's part of your life. It's part of every single day of your life. But it's one of those things you just have to take it in stride and roll with it and just do your best. And when you don't do so well, like if you do eat something wrong or stop exercising for a period of time, you are human, so I have to remind myself of that. As long as I don't stay off the wagon, you always have to get back up on that wagon, or on the horse, or whatever that term is. But yeah, I just keeping going on my journey and hoping I can, do even better with it. The more I learn, like when you start to know right from wrong with different things, then you have to really, buckle down and make a choice. Are you going to do the right thing? Like once you know, even when you know the right from wrong, is, you still can make the wrong choice very easily. But I find, if someone says you shouldn't have this or you shouldn't have that, I need to know why. Why shouldn't you have that? And usually if I find out why, it helps me to stop doing it. So yeah, what I'm going to do on my journey here is definitely when I'm learning, I want to find out why I can't have this or that, or why I should be eating more of this or that. I think that'll help. So yeah, I just wanted to share my diabetes, my type 2 diabetes, little bit of a intro story. So if anyone out there, I know some people that I watch and friends that are subscribed to me, and they have mentioned diabetes, that they have it, like just briefly in their videos. So if anyone wants to share your diabetes story, or maybe even do a video and kind of talk about what you've been through, that would be good, because I feel like diabetes isn't talked about very much on YouTube. Not that I can find anyways, so that's something, I need to talk about and improve, I guess you could say. So, alright, well I guess that's enough for now, and thanks for listening guys, and take care.